It's the last day of NAMM. We're on the Spectrasonics booth with Eric Persing looking at Omnisphere 2. Now, I've had a sneak preview of this thing and it's got so many features I don't know how you're going to fit them all into a 5-minute video. But from what I can see, it's got more features, more content, more flexibility, but actually easier to use. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's a very simple way of saying it. We've basically taken all of what's in Omnisphere 2, Omnisphere, every aspect of it, and raised it up and improved it, and yeah, it's huge.
Okay, well, I'll get out of your way and let you
Okay.
do your thing. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks. First of all, I wanted to say thanks for the Sound on Sound award to all the readers of Sound on Sound. 2nd year in a row for Omnisphere. Amazing. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to just very briefly cover some of the new features. Please go to our site to check out the full video that demonstrates everything in detail. But Omnisphere Omnisphere 2 is a huge upgrade to Omnisphere. We're taking Omnisphere to a completely different level, and there's something in there for everybody, no matter what kind of user you are. Whether you're somebody who loves creating your own sounds from scratch, or you're somebody that just loves the awesome sounds that it comes with, there's something for everybody. So I'm just going to cover just a couple of things, and we'll dive into a little bit of the synthesis capabilities. So one of the biggest requests, certainly the biggest request we have always had, is to have the ability to bring your own audio sounds, your own audio files into Omnisphere. And you can do that in Omnisphere 2, which is amazing. And it's super easy to use. You just have a user audio button. You drag and drop your files there. That's it. I just explained the whole process. And then it shows up as an oscillator waveform. So I can take something like this, a jazz track, and I can put it through the new granular synthesis, which has been totally redone, and we can turn it into something like this. Or I could change it into a rhythmic sound. I could even transform it into like a completely different, like a synth sound. This is the same waveform. That's that jazz recording. Okay, well, we even have a wild mode, so we can take something like the recording like this, right? And we'll put it through the wild mode, and now we've got. And there's the original again. So it's nuts what you can do with it. It's really, really crazy. And you can put all different kinds of audio through it. But a lot of people don't realize that Omnisphere is also an amazing synthesizer just without using any audio samples or any of the sound sources. It's amazing just as a synthesizer. Omnisphere 1 had 4 oscillator waveforms. Omnisphere 2 has over 400. So we've expanded over 100 times, which is amazing. And each one of these oscillator waveforms is a full morphing wavetable. So it's a full wavetable synthesizer now. And so that means each one of these has a lot of colors within it. So this is just an example of one of the waveforms. This is a razor blade waveform. So it's really, really powerful. And there are all kinds of different sounds. A lot of sounds you wouldn't think to associate with Omnisphere you can now do because there's so many different kinds of new oscillator waveforms. We've expanded the FM, we've expanded the ring modulation. The unison has got a unison drift function, so you can simulate the way it works with a polyphonic analog synthesizer where the voices are drifting out of tune, and that just sounds huge. Here's an example of without it. And here, sorry, wrong patch. There we go. Here's without it. And with it. So the unison is awesome. And we got brand new filters. We have eight different new filters that we've got. They're just gorgeous sounding. Expanded modulation. It's very, very flexible. and everything can be modulated, more sources, more destinations, literally thousands of new possibilities with the synthesis in here. And let me just show you real quickly. If I would take something like, let's say we want to modulate something. So I'll go to the main oscillator. Let's say I wanted to change the shape of the FM oscillator, and I want to modulate that with, let's say, with an LFO. Now you can see on the new interface, the LFO modulation comes up here on the left. So the interface has been greatly improved too, and it's very easy to see all your patch connections and that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. The sounds, gigantic amount of new sounds. Omnisphere now has over 10,000 sounds that it comes with. That means there's more than 3,000 brand new patches, sound sources, and multis. This is the first time we've increased the number of sound sources in Omnisphere. So much different stuff. That would be probably a 500-hour video. So I'm not going to even go into all of those things. Just go to the site, see some of the stuff we're doing. We even went to a radioactive cave. We had to get NATO clearance. It's insane. You know us. We do a lot of crazy sound stuff. So that's wonderful. But we've also done a lot of things with the interface. If we take a look at the arpeggiator, you can do things now like you can take an arpeggiation and you can transpose the individual steps of the arpeggiator. And you can modulate each of these knobs. So I can modulate the length, for example. And change the speed of the arpeggiation outside the host, modulate that, et cetera, et cetera. It goes crazy. All right, so let's move on to the effects, because we have 25 new effects units. That's in addition to the effects Omnisphere already has. That's 57 included effects units, and these are amazing. All kinds of circuit modeled, vintage modulation effects, every kind of stop box you can imagine, amp models of all different kinds of amps, and then amazing creative effects too, like inner space, which is a really interesting effect based on convolution, where we can take a sound, like a mallet sound like that, and then we can run it through different materials. So I could take like coins, for example, make that run through a coin. Or let's put that through Tic Tacs bouncing on glass. And this is the original again. So that's just one little tiny example of one of the effects. Tons of stuff you can do. You can now modulate all the effects. You have 16 effects simultaneously, effects loops, et cetera, et cetera. This is a huge upgrade that is impossible to explain in 5 minutes. So let's also talk about the new interface. You got the mini browser on the left, so you can always browse no matter where you are. You can see if I select sounds here on the left, you can see, look how fast that's loading. Amazing, right? And what was that? There's Trillion. You can have Trillion's interface. If you have Trillion shows up inside Omnisphere. So that's pretty cool. You have all of Trillion sounds there if you own Trillion. So that's awesome. And then we go to the full browser, and you can see that this has been greatly improved. And we've got a phenomenal new feature, like, for instance, when you have 10,000 sounds, it's exhausting sometimes to try to find a sound, right? So you lose your creativity killer. Not good. So in addition to a complete reorganization of the library, which we've done, which makes a huge difference, you can search by mood. But you can also, we have a new feature called Sound Match, and this is really cool. I've got a sound like this. Okay, so let's say I like that sound. I wonder if there's any other sounds like it. So I'll hit Sound Match, and then it instantly finds all the other sounds in the library like that. And now I've got... And no matter what sound you're on, it's going to analyze and find appropriate sounds. So no other synthesizer has this. We have this on Netflix. Nobody's ever done it on a synth, but it's pretty awesome. Okay, and then finally, there's a bunch of other great new features in the browsing, but we've got a special thing called Search Lock, And what that lets us do is, let me see if I can find very quickly. Let's say we've got an arpeggiator pattern here. Okay, so I've got that vibe going, and I like that. But if I browse to another sound, I'm going to lose those settings. So what SoundLock lets me do is I can lock in various aspects of the sound while I'm browsing. So I can lock in the arpeggiator. I'm going to lock in the effects. I can even lock in the filters, the envelopes, the modulation matrix, basically everything. And now when I browse to a new sound, so now everything's got that vibe. And actually the sound you're hearing now doesn't exist in the library. That's a new sound. That's actually a brand new sound. You have an original sound. And so you can actually creatively browse now, and everything that you select, you have 10,000 variations of them. So it's an amazing upgrade. It'll be available. Omnisphere 2 will be available on April 30th, and it's the same price as Omnisphere. So it's $499 US, €399 Euro. There's an upgrade path for Omnisphere 1 users, so you can upgrade for $249. And if you own if you own Trillion and RMX, you can upgrade as a VIP user, and that's $199. And if you're really sad because you just bought Omnisphere and you're watching this, you don't have to be sad, because for you it's free. So thanks very much, and that's just a little bit of Omnisphere 2. Thanks.